Hello, K5. Today you heard a story called The Parable of the Prodigal Son, which was about a dad and his two sons. What are some things that we learned from the story about Jesus? That's what we're going to talk about this morning. So we had a father with two sons. One was older, one was younger. The younger son wanted his money. When a parent dies, they'll give you something called your inheritance, which could be money or a house that they give you when they die. That's what the younger son was asking for in the parable. But in that story, the dad wasn't dying. So the son was really disrespectful when he said, "Father, I want my inheritance now. I don't want to wait until you're dead. I want you to give me all that money now." And the father gave it to him, and the son left. The son didn't want to live under the father's roof anymore. He didn't want to live under the father's rules anymore. He wanted to go out and make his own choices. Which one day, in a long time, because we're 5, you will get to move out of your house, and you'll get to start your own life. You'll get to start your own house. Some of you might start your own families. But when that happens, we have a choice to make. Just like we talked about in our Bible verse, all of the things that our parents taught us. Your choice will be, do I remember all of those lessons that my mom and dad taught me? And do I live by those? That means, do I remember them and choose to follow those lessons, even when I'm not in my mom and dad's house? Or do I choose to forget them all, and I'm just going to make my own choices? And this is the same choice that we have about all of the lessons we learn about God. All of the things that you've learned this year, and all of the lessons about Jesus that we've learned this year, and all of the lessons that your parents have taught you about Jesus this year, you have a choice. Miss Geyer has a choice. Your mom and dad have a choice every day. Will I follow those lessons about God and apply them to my heart, or do them? Or will I forget about Jesus? But what happens when we make the right choice of remembering our mom and dad's lessons and remembering God's lessons? And what happens when we make the wrong choice of forgetting mom and dad's lessons and forgetting Jesus? What happened to the son in the story? He thought things would be great without his dad. He thought things would be great without his dad's lessons and without his dad's rules. So he took all of the money and he went and spent it on everything, on parties, on his friends, on toys and expensive things. And he wasn't making good choices with that money, and he wasn't making good choices for his life. And by the middle of the story, he ends up spending all of the money and having nothing left. He started to go hungry. He didn't have somewhere safe to stay. All of his friends who he spent his money on left him because he didn't have any money left. So his friends really didn't love him. He didn't have a job to get more money. He was hungry. He went to find a job, and he was so hungry. His job was feeding pigs, and he was so hungry that he wanted to eat what the pigs were eating. And this made him think, one day, finally, it's called you come to your senses. Meaning you think about the situation that you're in, or you think about your life, or you think about the choices you've made, and you think, wait, these haven't been good choices, and the choices that I've made have led me here, but I don't want to be here. And that's what the son was thinking. Here he is laying in the mud with the pigs, sleeping with the pigs, eating with the pigs, and he finally comes to his senses and thinks, all of my choices have led me here. But when I was living with my dad, when I was following his rules, I wasn't sleeping with pigs, and I wasn't eating pig slop. I was in a safe home, I was in a loving home, and I was with a loving father who was teaching me good choices to make, who was teaching me the right way to live. And when he came to his senses, he thought, why am I living here? Why am I living with pigs? I should be back home. I've made the wrong choice. I need to go back home to where I'm loved and where I can learn to do the right things. And this is the choice that we have about God and with our parents. our parents teach us all of these lessons, hopefully lessons about life, but lessons about God and how we should live our life. And then we have the choice to follow those lessons. God will say, well done, keep going, we're learning another lesson now, or okay, we're going to keep practicing this lesson. Good job. But he's always there holding our hand through the whole thing. He's not leaving us alone. He's not saying, okay, well, you're going to do this next part by yourself. He's saying, I've got you. We're going to keep learning these lessons. We're going to walk together and do it. And I'm hoping that that's what your parents say to you every day. No matter how many times you mess up, they say, I got you. We're going to learn this lesson, and we're going to keep on going. And that's the amazing thing about parents. When you have a parent who loves God, God has his love in their hearts. And that means that no matter the crazy choices that we make as kids, Miss Geyer has made some horrible choices when she was a kid, when I was growing up, and still, that my choices have hurt people. And your choices can hurt people. Our choices don't just affect us. Our choices can affect other people. And we will make very bad choices. We will make the worst choices. We will make the most horrible choices in our life. And our parents, if they have God in their hearts, are there praying for you, hoping that we will realize that we've made the wrong choice and that we will turn around and fix our ways. They're praying that we'll come back to them, that we will come back to the lessons that we've learned and not be sleeping with pigs with our wrong choices and not eating pig slop with our wrong choices. Your parents don't want to see you living that way, but they can't choose the right choices for you. All they can do is pray that you'll remember the lessons and that you'll remember the love that they gave you and taught you. That's what the dad in the prodigal son did. He couldn't hold the son in his house saying, no, son, I will not give you your money. I will not let you leave this house because I know it's safe here. The dad had to let the son make his own choice, because then the son wouldn't have learned this lesson. But because the dad let him make his own choice, he let him leave. He let him come to the end of his rope in the mud with the pigs and finally come to his senses. And then the father let him come back. And that's the biggest love that God can show us. My mom says, and my dad, he says, you can always come home. No matter what has happened, no matter what choices you've made, you can always come home and we will help you and we will love you and we will try our best to help you fix things or to guide you with whatever the choices were that you made, and we will be here to help you. And I know that that love comes from God, because that's what God says to us too. He says, no matter what you've done, no matter the choices that you made or the people you've hurt, you can always come to me. There might be people we have to apologize to if we've hurt them. There might be things in our life that we have to fix, and God will help us fix them. But he says, no matter your choice, no matter if it was the worst choice in the world, the most horrible thing that you could have ever done, he says, you can always come back to me. You can always come back to me. And that's why Jesus died on the cross. He took all of the sin of the world away and forgave us. His blood covers us. If we have Jesus in our hearts, his blood covers us. He takes those sins away and he fixes our hearts. God always lets us come home. He always lets us come back to him. But we have to make that choice. And then the other big love of the prodigal son is the dad. When the son made the choice to come running home, the dad wasn't sitting at the house saying, well, he made that choice. If he comes back, he comes back, and I'll be happy to see him, but for now, I'm not going to think about him. I'm just going to forget about him and all those wrong choices that he made. No, that's not what the dad did in the prodigal son. Every day, that dad was outside looking for his son and praying for his son, that he would see him running home. Hope that the lessons the son learned, even though he chose to forget them, one day that he would remember those lessons And one day his heart would remember those lessons and say, I shouldn't be with pigs. I shouldn't be making these choices. I've made a huge mistake. I need to go back to the Father. I need to go back to my dad. And there the dad was, waiting for him. That one day, when the father was waiting and looking, he finally saw the son running home. He saw the son running home, and he ran to him. He ran to him with open arms and said, Son, you're back. Thank God you're back. You've made the right choice. I love you. Come, let me love you. Let me heal your wounds. Let me feed you. Let me put food in your stomach. Let's have a party and celebrate because you've made the right choice. And that's how God responds to us when we make the right choice to follow him. He always loved you. Let's celebrate because you're home. You've made the right choice. We still have a Father in heaven, and we still have moms and dads at home who love us, who teach us, who say, man, I know that was a really bad choice, but I still love you, and we're gonna learn how to fix this together. And hopefully this doesn't happen again, but even if it happens again, I will still love you and I will still help you fix it. And that's what God says to us too, and that's why our parents do that. God teaches our parents to love like him. So, I hope today, one, that you will realize how much God loves you. But I also hope that you would know, and that you would know this as you grow up, that you would know how much your mom and dad love you, and that sometimes even if you guys get into fights, or even if you don't like the choices that they make, or if that you don't like the things that they ask you to do sometimes, that you would know, and I pray that this is true, that you would know that they always love you, and the lessons that they're teaching you are for the good of your heart. Ooh. And also know that Miss Geyer loves you too. Alright, well, I hope that you enjoyed the story of the prodigal son. It's one of my favorites. It's a good lesson about God's love, and it's a good lesson about parents' love. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of the day, and I will see you tomorrow. I love you all. Don't forget to practice your verse.